Let's do another tool project. Now this is my homemade table for my porter band. I used to cut metal. And it works, but it's not quite like it should be. I think it could be much better. And what I'm going to attempt to do, is this is the table off of my old Delta bandsaw bench top. Because this is too big. It's too big in the floor. It takes up too much room. So I took this off of the old saw. And it's already got the slot cut in there. We'll have to address this big opening here, but that's no problem. And I've got to figure out some kind of stand for it, or maybe even mount it to the end of the work table over here. Permanently mount it. So that's what I'm doing. First thing I'm going to do is take the old saw off. I'll take the saw off. And we'll do some measuring and figuring, and we'll see if that works. Because this is another one of those tools that very, very important to have in the knife shop. So let's see what we can get done. Alright, now I've got it set up here on the, clamped up in the vise just to hold it. And what I want to do is this to go in here and center up. And it looks like it's gonna work out okay this way, but now I need to mark right over here. You see that? Yeah, you can see that. Where the blade guard comes in, this has got to sit all the way back and flush. That's one problem I made over there. It didn't sit flush against the tabletop. So we're going to mark it out here on either side. Now this is aluminum, cast aluminum, so it's not nearly as heavy either. Alright, that's the width we want. Now the depth. Just going to eyeball it. Alright, so I'll need to nibble out right in here. And I think that'll be easiest done now. Let's see, I might can grind that out, being it's aluminum. We'll try it on the grinder first. If not, then I'll get out the jigsaw. Let's look at it one more time. Yep, it'll work. Okay, we'll grind on a little bit, bring it back, check it, and see if it's going to fit. Now keep in mind, this is going to get cleaned up very, very well, sanded down real good, and waxed down with some paste wax. And we will have to make this smaller, which I already got an idea for that. Alrighty, let's keep on going. Well, that's going to take 100 years. Go to the jigsaw. Now, just like that, I'll keep nibbling it out of there. And then we'll take the Dremel and clean it up real nice. And we'll see if it fits. All right, let's check our fit here. All right, that's going to be just about perfect. Now, I had to cut this because it didn't go in quite far enough. I've got them marked so I know where they go. Now I'm going to take the Dremel and clean this little edge here up a little bit. You see that? Then I'm going to clean this up a little bit here just to get the sharp edges off. It doesn't really matter, but this allows it to go back. Now I thought about doing the little curvature that's already there, but that might get into too much and I maybe not be able to get it square. So that's better than it was already. So there we go. All right, let's drag out the Dremel and get working on that. All right, it took me a couple hours to get the table ready. I got my cutout here to clear the guard. I did have to go ahead and radius out a little bit to make it fit right. And underneath, I had to take out some of this to get everything to sit down flat like I want it. It's going to sit right in here like this. Now the hardest part is getting these holes centered up. Drill the holes. I measured it probably 15 times. I think I've got it where I need it. Now I'm going to oversize the holes a little bit for this to mount here. Just a little bit, not much. And then I'll countersink them so they'll sit flat on here. And those two screws will hold everything together. Now I did have to take off just a little bit here because it was high. Took it off with the file. And I think I'm pretty much ready to drill. So I drill the holes, and I hope, really hope that I come out right. We'll see. All right, let's take a look. Got it mounted. These will go back in here with a little bit of adjusting. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. Something like that. And I got to close this gap up here because I don't want little tiny pieces of metal to fall down in there. Now I'm going to take it off, work on that part, get everything nice and clean, smoothed out. Probably get the random orbit on there, smooth it real good, wax it down, and this part will be finished. Then we will have to decide on what kind of table I'm going to have it on. It's in the clamp right now. It's not exactly straight and square, but I have another vise, older vise outside. I may mount it that way because every time you change the blade, this has to come off. Just set with these two screws here. But what I'm trying to avoid is the great big footprint that it takes up in the shop. So I think I got it figured out, but we'll see. A lot of trimming, a lot of taking off and on, but I think I'm there. Just about. All right, folks, there we go. Got everything mounted. And I think that's going to work. Looks much better than the old design, and I think it'll work a lot better. See, get a picture of the whole thing here. Right now, in part two, we'll mount it to the end of the bench down there, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, but we'll see as we go along. Now the old design, to change the blade, you had to disconnect the entire saw, take the saw off of the table. Now this way, here's your 2 mounting screws right here. Take those loose, take the table off, change the blade, put it right back on. Now I did have to put a little wood block right here to help everything leveled out. Now the table is steady on there. It's moving around in the little improvised vise here. But I've got a little bit of adjustment to do with a file right in here to put some marks. And at one time, the bottom bearings went out on this thing, and I put new bearings in it. And I didn't get it exactly square, the blade. So when I disassemble it to put a new blade on, because this blade is pretty dull, I've got another new one I'll put on there. Because you can't do it under tension. I'll try to adjust that back out. And we'll look at that once we get it mounted down where it's going to go. So, the noise you're hearing is rain. It's starting to rain again. But anyway, this is going to do it for part 1. I'm really pleased how this come out. I've got the table cleaned off, sanded it with the orbital sander. Yeah, it's really smooth, but in the end we'll put some wax on it, and we'll see that in part 2. Now, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing it. And this is for the knife maker, this is a almost got to have tool. So, and it comes in handy for all kind of stuff. So thank y'all for watching. Thank you for your support. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe. And I will see y'all in part 2 in a day or so.